What are filters? Quite simply, filters are energetic boundaries. They protect your energy from external issues. So they allow in what you set them to allow, and they keep out what you set them to keep out. So you get to choose. They are flexible, porous, and unnoticeable. So all three of those things, flexible, porous, and unnoticeable, are extremely important. It makes such a difference in your energetic health to have those established. So again, filters are energetic boundaries. And I'm sure that if you've ever listened to a life coach before, or your mom or your sister-in-law or whatever, your friend has said, you need better boundaries. You let that person take advantage of you. You let this happen. You let that happen. Why are you doing that? You should set better boundaries. So we can all work psychologically to have better boundaries, but what filters do is establish those boundaries energetically so you don't have to work all the time. So the problems that arise when you are lacking filters, the problems that arise that require boundaries, don't arise so very often. You can avoid most of those problems. And that's why filters are so very, very useful. So why do we need filters? Because we all have difficult but necessary relationships and people in our lives. Sometimes you have faculty meetings or somebody you don't get along with at work. Sometimes you have difficulty with a sibling or with your in-laws. The filters help in those relationships so you don't have to cut off those relationships. So you can maintain your own sense of self and integrity and also be in those relationships. So we also have challenging situations. Where someone will put you in a situation or you'll be required to go into a situation because of a work thing, and filters help you maintain your energetic integrity in those situations. And then there's also challenging locations. Sometimes if you're in a hospital or if you're in a particular room, those locations can hold energy in such a way that's quite negative, and yet you are required to be there. You don't get to avoid going to the hospital. If you need chemo, you still have to go. But there are few locations more challenging for most people than going to a hospital. So the filters that we set will help keep you from absorbing other people's energy and other people's distress in those locations. Now, there are lots of places and situations where you have difficulty establishing or holding boundaries. And again, to use the hospital one, if you are going in to get treatment of some sort, you need to be focused on that treatment and to psychologically or mentally or energetically hold those boundaries when you are in the midst of that treatment. It takes a lot of extra energy that you don't have to spare. So this takes care of those really challenging situations. And then there are unexpected energies. And this is an example from my own life. I live near a long-term care home. It backs onto my property, actually. And when I became open to receiving information from, let's say, outside sources of all sorts of things, all of these unexpected energies would show up all the time. They just came right in and wanted to talk. And I needed filters very desperately. This is how I discovered all the things that filters can do. I was complaining about uh, about people who were in comas or unconscious in some way, and also dead people coming in wanting to have conversations when I was really not interested in doing that. And I was complaining to the daughter of my mentor, who's a close friend, and she said, "Well, why don't you just set a filter for that?" And I said, "I can do that?" And she's like, "Well, yeah, I mean, you've learned filters, right? So just set a filter. It's not hard." And I thought, okay, what exactly am I open to receiving and what am I not open to receiving? And that's the filter I set. And then suddenly they stopped invading my space. So all of these unexpected energies recognized that I had set a boundary and stayed out of the way. And then there are energy vampires, and I've discussed energy vampires quite a bit here. So, energy vampires are those people who come to you. They may be close friends or loved ones. They also may be complete strangers in the grocery store. You never know. Okay, energy vampires will just come and they latch onto you and they suck out your energy. And it's quite a literal thing. And if you've seen what we do in the shadows, Colin as an energy vampire, that is, this is where I think the mythology of vampires comes from. These people who take your energy. Some of them do it quite consciously, and some of them don't. Some of them aren't aware that they're doing it, but they will latch onto you. So if you have filters, that keeps energy vampires from latching on in the first place. And then finally, we need filters because there's a lot of unknown unknowns around there, around us all the time. And we don't know what we'll experience, and we don't know what sort of shape we'll be in or how aware we'll be at a particular time. So, an unknown, so filters against unknown unknowns, or filters that simply allow positive energy to come and protect us from negative energy, can go a long way in keeping our energy healthy and at a much higher level.